Hey, now for the news. Glad you can join us, and welcome to the P.G.M show. Hello, and welcome to the P.G.M show. Yes, it's me, Peter Gordon McKinnon. How are you all? I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome back to the Monday HBO original Last of Us series talk or review, or call it what you will. This one, and they're saying, really is a masterpiece. Well, that's what I think. But before we go into the HBO original Last of Us show, I just want to give you, and we all know, the essence of the story from the game. Now, I played this countless times, and I think millions of us around the world have had this almost love affair of this game. The new followers, the old followers, the old game players of this game have cherished the gameplay or even the storyline. I don't know. It's up to you whether you like it or not. And even the new people who've been introduced to this game and even to this series on HBO. The game is so different, and we'll get to the differences in the show in just a wee while. But I'll give you the outline that I thought and felt this was going to be played out in the show. Okay. Joel is looking for his friend that he knows where Bill is. Ellie and then Joel travel to go and find him. Now, Bill has created this mine field, call it what you will, to get rid of the infected, or maybe even factions that disrupt his life. Now, when Joel and Ellie walk through, climb up, climb down, and pick off infected or clickers along the way, they're talking about Bill. And they're talking about Bill's attitude towards anyone or anything. He's just a disgruntled old man, if you will. He doesn't like anybody. He doesn't like anybody touching his stuff. He doesn't like anybody infiltrating his fortress. And he has a big fortress. It's a small, outskirts of a town, almost, that he's king of, and nobody else. So he just warns Ellie just to be careful of Bill's attitude and the way he acts. So when Joel accidentally trips a trap, and he's lifted up by one leg, and there's a counterweight of a fridge. Ellie is trying to free Joel. Joel is trying to fight off and kill clickers, infected everywhere, and they're in trouble. They're in major trouble. And then here's Bill swooping in at nearly the last moment that Joel is being attacked by a clicker, and cuts Joel down. They head off, all three of them, run away from all these clickers who have now smelt them or heard them as they are gunning it, running away from them, fighting them and killing some of these clickers or infected, and getting away into safety. Now, as to Bill's attitude, Ellie and Bill have let's say Bill's weary and angry, and not weary, let's say he's just angry. He's just this argumentative man who doesn't like anybody touching his stuff again. Ellie says she's trying to actually thank him for saving his life, but Bill grabs her by the wrist and handcuffs Ellie to a pipe. And Ellie's calling him all sorts of names under the sun at him, and then Bill grabs Joel and puts him down to Joel's knees and says, just checking him for infected bites, because he doesn't want to be infected, because he's like that. He's very apprehensive, very vocal in that sense. So Joel's trying to scream at him and tell him that, no, everything's right, I haven't been bitten, please, what are you doing? Ellie, she gets free from the pipe. She's still handcuffed, of course, by one wrist, and then she bats him with the old pipe on the back and gets him off Joel. Now, Joel has grabbed Bill and says, look, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. We're not a threat to you. We're here just for getting out of the place, like a car or a battery or what have you. And Bill is so reluctant to actually hear this. He doesn't want to help them. He complains, he's argumentative, and Joel just comes right back at Bill and says, well, you owe me. You owe me big time, and this is the favor that Bill relents to Joel to get him a battery or a car to get out of the place. So Joel and Bill make a plan. All in all, that Ellie is feeling a little bit angry and a little bit anxious of this Bill character that really her witticisms and wisecracks at Bill are just second to none. Just brilliant. It's a really feast for your eyes banter, but really mean and nasty banter between them, or between her and Bill. It's just Ellie calling him all sorts of names and just joking he should be losing some weight. Anyway, play the game and see that scene. It's just brilliantly funny. Joel backs her off and says, look, just take it easy, we've got to get out of here, so you may want to just cooperate with Bill. And anyway, so they go off, they get supplies, and they almost have to do a gauntlet run to actually get to a place. Now that place is, when they get to it, is a house. And now, with another discussion or another argument that Joel and Bill have, it gets to a point that they're talking about Bill's partner in crime, might say, or partner in keeping this whole town from cliques or infected or anything like that, or just maybe getting out as well. I'm not too certain. Again, I might be completely wrong, but when they get to the house, they find Frank has hung himself. He couldn't live with maybe he was turning, maybe he just got bitten, or maybe he just couldn't live like this anymore with Bill being such a cantankerous old man per se, or his attitude, or what have you. But the thing is that he was there hanging, and I think Bill cuts him down from his noose. So with getting more supplies and the battery working in in his in this car, this ute, and really trying to get the battery turned over. They have to find off some affected and some clickers also, and Ellie puts the car in drive and then in gear, and then they escape with barely their lives. Anyway, the last piece of this story in the game of Bill's, and I forgot a wee bit of this because when they, sorry about that, I'll go back a wee bit. When they were getting their guns and their packs and everything together, Bill mentions Tess. Now, this is pure gold, and take count of this because Bill, yes, talks about Tess, and where is Tess, and all this kind of stuff about Tess. Joel is really didn't tell Bill that Tess has died, right? Or got shot up or killed or what have you because she got bitten and she was going to turn and she's not there with them. Well, again, point the obvious out. But so you keep that in mind. Of course, everybody's seen this, of course, and but it's brilliant how it's weaved into even this game, but in a different kind of weave in the game, but still keeping that essence and that knowledge that they have been, or they've met, or they know each other. Tess, Joel, Bill, and it just didn't seem that Joel knew of Frank. So keep that in mind as well. Keep that in account. The last little bit, like I said, of Bill's storyline in the game is that Joel is appreciative of Bill helping them out with getting the battery in the car and getting a car to get out of where they're going to travel to. So, Bill says to Joel, okay, favor's done, I don't want to see you or hear you again. And that's it. The Bill's story. Done and dusted. Bill is still alive in the game version. Right, now on to The Last of Us HBO original series. The amazing transformation and the amazing acting and directing skills of Craig Mazin, and production or producer or director as well, Neil Druckmann. Just a masterpiece, really, in the making of this love story between two men who are really, one's wanting to survive this pandemic virus, Bill, and one's really also wanting to survive, but whereas Bill is a disgruntled man who just wants to keep everybody away, Frank is more of a man who wants to know Bill, and in essence that really takes somewhat of a toll on Bill, because I think he's conflicted as to helping Frank in a way that Frank gets trapped in one of Bill's traps in a hole that Frank says to Bill, well, he's not going to be there long. He just wants to maybe, I don't know, freshen up or take a shower or you know, something to eat, and then he'll be on his way. Okay, then I think reluctantly Bill puts down his weapon from his meeting, putting a ladder down, or going to get a ladder, then putting a ladder down the hole, and Frank almost being rescued by Bill. And then Bill invites him into his home, and then invites Frank to dinner and feeds Frank, and and then Frank says that is it all right if I take a shower, clean up, and I'll be on my way. And then Bill really turns around after the fact that Frank hears Bill play this song and sings this song because Frank knew the song but didn't sing it or play it well. Bill does the same song but in a beautiful sense of the word, and it's a Linda Ronstadt song. And really, there's a tie-in when Joel and Ellie get there, but I'll get to that. But the fact that Bill invites Frank in, and then he really invites Frank in to his world. And then this whole love story evolves in time. They have this relationship that connects with each other, and even in their fights with Frank wanting to beautify the place around them and get more friends and know other people, and that's where Tess and Joel come into it, because that's where they meet. They have lunch, and with the reluctance of Bill having to actually meet Tess and having to meet Joel, having the gun on the table where Joel sits and eats and says, "Look, you can put the gun away. I'm not gonna be a threat to you." And then Joel's just gets to know Bill in a sense, but still reluctant to put the gun away. And then Joel says to Bill before they go out, because it's really a sense of trade with Tess and Frank. It's a sense of, we can trade you this, we can. Frank knew Tess, and they can get stuff to Frank and Bill, right? And then really when they go, when Joel goes, he says, "Look, you're going to be safe here, Bill. There's not going to be any infected or factions coming up because you're just way out of the way," right? But when this life evolves more and more and more, it's the attack comes to Bill's town of a faction or some sort that Bill defends and shoots and kills and almost vaporizes the faction trying to get into Bill's town, Frank's town, and then Bill gets shot and near death, and then Frank saves Bill for being killed, and then it goes on to what I was thinking, that is Bill dead. He was close to it, but it turns out that Bill survived. But when the months roll on by, and it's just so beautiful to watch. It's like watching summer when they're making out in the strawberry patch. There's such a beautiful light in that little scene and sequence. Just a masterpiece of acting, and that survival is really gone. That darkness is gone, and that mere little sequence of scene of that you can grow something so beautiful and delicious and sweet in such a dark world. That one patch, that one little slice side of life that you can grow, and it's life, it's not death, and it's just is so beautiful to watch. And then as the seasons change again, the summer turns to autumn, and autumn turns to winter or something like that, and then really you can see the oldness of Bill and of Frank. And Frank's now going ahead. Frank's now in a wheelchair, and he's got some sort of illness that really he can't sustain any longer. And this is what I'm getting at, is just that this change in this whole dynamic of the game where Bill is still alive and he lets Joel and Ellie go with the car. This change is again beautiful in its making, that Frank and Bill get married. But the question is, and the answer is here, that Frank says to Bill that I want you to end my life. I want you to get some pills, crush them and put them in a glass of wet red wine, and I'll drink it, and then we'll get married before that, but we will then have a nice meal, and then you can do that wine and crushed pills, and then just let me die. Just let me die. And then I see this happening in such a calm, but such a, again, beautiful and a loving way, that really the question is in my head is, Bill, I hope Bill's not going to do this. I hope Bill's not going to want to die with Frank. He's going to leave Frank to die, and then Frank's going to just be his cantankerous, old, disruptive, angry man character. But that doesn't happen. He does the same thing. He takes the wine, and before we don't see it, he fills his glass. Bill fills his glass up, and then he drinks it, and then really that's the answer. He's taken the pills along with Frank, and then really they go into the room, their bedroom, and they die together, and then in comes Ellie and Joel, and really when Joel finds out, or Ellie finds out that they died together, they poisoned themselves and died together because Frank couldn't handle it anymore with his being in the wheelchair, and he would get worse off than better. And that's the only outcome they had to do. What Bill wanted to do is to die with his partner or his husband, or because they just got married. It just invokes love. It invokes. What am I getting? What am I getting at here? It just invokes. You would do anything for anyone out of love, and that's how I see it. But it was just handled so right. It was handled in such, and the word comes up for me is beauty. Again, in a world of darkness, and again in a world of the virus, again in a world of warring factions, again in a world of death, disease, mind-numbing darkness, and survival, and all that horrible stuff that's going on. But really, in Bill's world and Frank's world, it's light, love, and just growing and nurturing. But out of it, that is sadness. Just sadness. But in that instance, it's taking this whole episode has taken the world by storm who are watching this, because it is a beautiful piece of work in itself. And that's where it changes. And it's changed for the better, I think, because it makes the whole Last of Us HBO original series a journey into these people's lives that really they just want a peace. They want the love. They don't want to live in a survival atmosphere. They don't want to live in darkness. You know, I mean, take that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. But I thought this was just, again, and I'll repeat myself like I've been repeating myself in this episode and talking about it in this review. Call it what you will, call it crap if you want. I don't care. I really don't care. I just love this episode. I loved how even when Joel and Ellie got to know the two people that really died, and it's beautiful. There's a beautiful end scene where, before it ended, it was actually ended. What am I saying about? What am I saying? When Joel and Ellie left, you can see the gate, but you can see the window open, as the letter says. We left the window open, right? And you can see the breeze flutter through the open window. And the last instance of that, the last scene, when when Ellie finds the cassette, and this scene changed as well. She wasn't reading a dirty magazine. There was none of that. That was changed as well. Ellie, of course, found this cassette and played this song. It was a song that Frank badly sung and played on the piano, and then Bill took the piano and beautifully sung and played on the piano. Linda Von Stant song, and that's the last scene, and then the credits. Beautiful, light, growing love. Really, it was just love, a love story in a world gone mad, and a world of darkness, of death all around, of viruses, of infected clickers, everything. And then the story of tranquilness, peacefulness, and again, I'm going to say this, love. Just love for one another, dying for love for one another. Sad also, but beautiful also. And yes, beautiful and loving. I am loving this. I am loving this Last of Us HBO original. It is just it's so easy to watch and so easy to talk about because I've played the game. It evokes, and yes, I probably parroted myself so many times in this, but it's really a story of one that we can all take away, that we can all talk about, that really love does conquer all. We should be respecting each other. We should be loving each other, even in the dark times, in this hectic times, in this hectic world. We should just respect and forgive each other. We should be there for each other in a community or anywhere you are in this life, in this way. And however hard it is out there in life, we should find the love, something we love about something we like about something. Let us not all have to actually jump on something because we don't like it. Find something that you like about it. Find something that you love about people. Find something you love about the world. Find something that you love about life. Because Bill and Frank did in this episode. they found love in each other and love for a small patch of life where they were living in a dark time and time period in The Last of Us. Right, hee-ho, I will leave it there, ladies and Jimmy Jims. Under the rims, sorry. I don't know where that came from. Thank you very much for listening to this Last of Us HBO original, episode 3. I cannot wait to actually give you the review or talk about or my thoughts on this marvelous show, how some scenes change from the game, and that's completely okay with me. It's just a brilliant piece of mastery of work from Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, and actors Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Just pure magic and really a masterclass of the whole show and production-wise. Anyway, gushing over it as per usual. Okay, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, and share if you want. Comment down below if you liked it or not. I don't mind at all. I'd love to hear your views, or your criticisms if you so choose. If I've parroted so many thoughts on this episode of this one, of episode 3, go ahead. I don't mind at all, but it's been a pleasure doing this. I love doing this. Pleasure. I haven't finished it. There will be episode 4 of The Last of Us coming at you, not this Monday, but next Monday, of course. So I look forward to bringing you my thoughts. I think I might just call it my thoughts instead of a review, because I'm usually just talking about it and talking about the changes and the storyline. That's usually what I do with that, but I hope I've given some little insight to someone out there. And yes, please do not do what Frank and Bill did. That's just don't do that. Don't think of doing that. And I will see you. Yes, again, I'll say again, I'll parrot myself again. See you next Monday. Not this Monday, episode 4. For the review of The Last of Us, episode 4. I repeated myself once again in that sentence. How many times? I don't know. I look forward to giving you another rundown. And until then, I've wobbled and waffled on so much. I'm stuttering it through this, finding my words. Take care of yourselves everywhere, wherever you are. Stay safe everywhere, wherever you are in the world, on this big blue, green, and marble of ours. And until then, I'll see you later.